Alright, here we got my 2013 Subaru Outback with the 2.5. Got the valve body out here. Had a code P2763 for the lockup duty solenoid. Now the only thing I removed, first the intake tube, then the cover that goes over top of the valve body cover, and then the bracket for the engine hanger or transmission hanger, whatever you want to call it, which has a ground wire on it. Ground wire here. I got the negative cable disconnected. Took all the bolts around the edge for the cover, or the valve body cover, which I have in the bag over here. Right here, all the bolts around the edge. There's two dowel pins. One is here, one is here. That's what it'll be sitting on. You don't have to pull this out. You'll disconnect that from underneath. So there will be, and on this wiring harness here, you'll have two harnesses. So you can unplug this one and unplug this one, and then take this one off the bracket, which I have strung out of the way somewhere, right there. And then just move stuff out of the way, but absolutely make certain before that you pull that valve body cover off that this engine bay is clean. Now I didn't do it, obviously, as you can see, but I did blow it off with air. What I would recommend is the day before you do this job is take this thing to a car wash and just clean the engine bay really well of any kind of dirt and debris and anything that's loose. Make sure it's nice and clean, and then do it the following day when the car is dry. And then place anything down around it. Do it in a space that is not very windy. You don't want to kick up a bunch of dust, even though it is kind of dusty in here. There is no wind right now. None of the fans are on. I'm the only one here. It's nighttime. There's no drafts blowing through, so there's no dust stir up. Now I'm changing the lockup solenoid, which I have over here. This is the only one I'm changing, and that's going to be the one on the end here. And this valve body, when you pull it out, you're going to have black screws, mostly. Here, here. Two on the side. Those are going to be black-headed screws. And you have two silver screws, which all the black screws are very long. And these two silver screws, one here, are going to be shorter. And when you put them back in, these are going to be the first ones that you tighten snug first. And then you're going to torque all these, and then you'll torque the two silver ones. But you don't tighten them all the way until after the rest of them done. But these will be what hold the valve body in place while you torque the rest of them. Now to the solenoid. Here's your Dorman solenoid part number. I believe this solenoid can be used for more than one, but there is one or two of these solenoids that have a different ohmage. So two of them will be the same, and I think the two other ones will be different. But the lockup one is this one on the very end, and that's the only one I'm going to be changing today. You can get, there is a this little metal bracket you can see weaving in between here. It's holding them down on there. You'll need to take those bolts out. Once you get that bracket off, you should be able to pull this solenoid up and out and change it. See here, Transtar. Here's your harness here. Here's your lockup, primary up, primary down, and your all-wheel drive solenoid right here. And we say all-wheel drive solenoid. There's a fuse in your fuse box that if you pull, it's either you pull it out or you put it in. I think if you put the fuse in, the all-wheel drive light on your cluster will light up, and then your Subaru will actually be in front-wheel drive mode. And that's for towing, or maybe if you have an issue with your rear end or something like that going on. When you put the fuse in, the all-wheel drive light comes on in your cluster, which activates this all-wheel drive solenoid here, I believe. Either activates it or deactivates it. Not 100%, but I know when you put that fuse in and the light comes on, you are actually, even though it says all-wheel drive, that is actually when you are in front-wheel drive. And that will allow you to have your Subaru towed if you have an issue and you can't get a flatbed. to flat tow it. If you need to use a car dolly or something like that, make sure you put that all-wheel drive fuse in. But this one here on the end, this lockup fuse, this is what we're changing. Let's switch over here for a second to the repair. I'm just going to briefly scroll down in case any of you people want to see the book procedure. Yeah, that way you can pause it anywhere you want. There are 3 bolts holding on the cover that goes around it. I think 2 on the passenger, 1 on top, and maybe a 4th one. I think it's just 3. Now this ST, this is just a big piece of plastic that goes all around the entire engine bay with a hole here to work on the transmission and covers up on the hood as well. Use whatever you want to use. It's just a sheet of plastic. There's your valve body, valve cover, valve body cover, not the valve cover for your engine. You can pull that out. You do not have to do this unless you're going to change that O-ring. They just want you to pull it out and take the O-ring off and change it. If it's not leaking, leave it alone. Don't unbolt this. Don't take it out. Once you pull this valve body off, you're going to be able to get underneath here with this harness where it connects right here. You're going to disconnect it from the valve body. And here you can see your bolts. So these are black, black, black. 2 on the side are also black, and then the shorter ones here are silver. Those are the bolts you need to remove, and then your valve body will come out. It is sitting a little bit in a bath of oil. There's going to be some transmission oil that's going to come out when you remove that. Now let's go down. Here's your testings for your solenoids if you want. So we got an all-wheel drive, primary down, primary up solenoid. So primary up, 10, 13.5, lock up at 10, 13.5. As you can see, the all-wheel drive solenoid is not the same as lock up, but the lock up, the primary down, and the primary up are all the same. So you can use this Dorman solenoid for this one, and this one. It's the same solenoid for each piece, but not this one. The lockup is different. These are the testings for the rest of it. If you need to test, make sure everything else is good. There are 2 O-rings in there. Mine are good. They're sticking up out of it. There's still no issue there. If they're flat, if you can't tell the difference between this surface and the O-ring surface, you need to replace them. And you're going to install them. And as like I said, you're going to just temporarily tighten the 2 silver bolts just enough to hold it down. And then you're going to torque all the black bolts 6.6 foot-pounds. Then you're going to torque the silver bolts to 6.6 foot-pounds. So temporary tighten is basically just hand tighten to keep it down, torque all the black bolts, then torque the remaining 2 silver bolts, put everything back together. I'll just scroll down in case you want to use this. Now, I'm not removing my gasket, I'm going to reuse it, but where there's telling you to put silicone at right here is basically where the transmission pieces come together. So if you're going to be replacing your gasket, you need the silicone here and here on the bottom of the gasket. Here's your torque for the valve cover bolts, 5.9 foot-pounds. Now they took the throttle body out. Obviously, as you can see, I didn't. You don't have to. It's personal choice. Here's the rest of the bolts and torques if you need those. And make sure you check your transmission fluid level when you're done. Alright, hope that helps somebody out. Thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.